The story of the World Bank, building bridges for a better tomorrow. In the aftermath of World War II, the world lay shattered. Cities burned, economies collapsed, and millions were displaced. Amidst this chaos, leaders from across the globe gathered in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, in 1944. Their mission was clear: to rebuild the war-torn world and prevent such devastation from ever happening again. From this meeting, two monumental institutions were born: the International Monetary Fund (IMF) and the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development (IBRD), today known as the World Bank. The story of the World Bank is not just the story of an institution, but of humanity's struggle against poverty, inequality, and underdevelopment. Chapter 1. The Early Years, Rebuilding a Broken World. The World Bank's first task was monumental: rebuild Europe. The first loan it ever approved was for France in 1947, $250 million to restore its infrastructure, roads, and industries. Back then, the World Bank was like a global engineer, helping countries rebuild bridges, power plants, and industries that had been destroyed in the war. But as Europe recovered with help from the Marshall Plan, the bank's focus slowly shifted toward developing countries. The realization dawned: war-torn Europe would heal, but what about the nations of Africa, Asia, and Latin America, still shackled by poverty and colonial legacies? Chapter 2. A New Mission, Fighting Poverty. In the 1950s and 1960s, the World Bank broadened its mission. It became not only a bank for reconstruction but a development bank. New branches like the International Finance Corporation (IFC) and the International Development Association (IDA) were created to help private businesses and offer low-interest loans to the poorest nations. Roads were built in India, dams rose across Africa, and schools opened in Latin America. The World Bank became a partner in nations' quests for modernization. But the story wasn't without flaws. Some critics argued that the World Bank's projects focused too much on infrastructure and too little on the people. Giant dams displaced villagers. Highways were built, but sometimes at the cost of local communities. The question began to emerge: development for whom? Chapter 3. Adjustments and Controversies. The 1980s and 1990s brought economic crises across the developing world. In response, the World Bank and the IMF introduced structural adjustment programs (SAPS) reforms that aimed to stabilize economies by promoting free markets, privatization, and trade liberalization. But these policies were controversial. In countries like Nigeria, Argentina, and Thailand, they brought some stability but also led to unemployment, reduced social spending, and widening inequalities. Protests erupted from Latin America to Africa, as citizens felt the pain of cuts in education, healthcare, and public services. The World Bank